pleasure that I introduce Nadia Giordana. She is one of my 10 program thrivers. For those of you who haven't had a chance to read the book, I have 10 contributing thrivers, and they're ages from 50 all the way up into their 90s within the book. And Nadia Giordana is here today, and she's an author and a lifestyle strategist. She helps women in midlife find the inspiration to resurrect their sideline dreams and go out and do some of the things they always said they wanted to do. So you're going to hear an exciting life story, and what I want you to pay attention to is thrivers always have this canny way of really capitalizing on what they can do versus what they can't do. Here's Nadia.
Thank you, Lori. Hi, I'm Nadia Giordana, and as Lori mentioned, I'm an author, mentor, and a lifestyle strategist. I'm so proud and excited to be one of the thrivers mentioned in Lori's book, and when it came out, I read it cover to cover for a number of reasons, not just because I was in the book myself. I wanted to learn what it was that some of these other thrivers were doing to make their lives successful. And I wanted to clarify and validate for my own self what it was that I had been doing that has been working so well for me. In the book, Lori talks about the 4 important characteristics often displayed in the lives of thrivers. It's not the easiest thing to look inside oneself in that way, but I took some time to think about the 4 characteristics and the role they played in my life. The first one demonstrates personal responsibility. It is true, I was taught at an early age to take responsibility for my actions. I do believe I've managed to do that as I've made my way through this gauntlet we call life. It hasn't been easy, but I don't expect anyone else to make life easier for me, or to be responsible for my happiness or my successes. And I don't blame others for my failures. I had some things happen a few years ago that turned my life upside down and put me in a position where I needed to rethink my life, what it had been, and what it was now going to be. I was laid off from a job I had planned to retire from. It was in the wake of this layoff that I took stock of my personal health. And at age 59 and 60, lost 88 pounds and got my life back on track physically and emotionally. I got over thinking that I had carried that weight so long that it was too late to change, which leads me right into point number 2. Questions limited thinking, and Lori mentioned that as one of the important points. This is a big one for me as a woman. There are some old 1950s, 1960s, and even 1970s tapes that pop up and play in my head every time I start something new. And often when I try to reach beyond my comfort zone. Okay, yes, comfort zone. Let's talk about that. Most of you haven't read my books, Thinking Skinny and Reinventing New Chapters in Your Life at any age. One important issue I write about at one point in my life was stopping me cold. And had I not gotten past my limited thinking, I wouldn't be standing here talking to you today. That was a crippling fear of public speaking. It manifested itself early in my life. as I discovered when, as a matter of course, I took a high school speech class. You guys, I'm telling you, I made no progress that year. It served only to drive home how pervasive was this fear. I had previously not even known it was inside me. Oh sure, I knew I was shy, but this fear, this was something very new. Now, nothing earth-shattering happened in that class to make me fearful of speaking. No one humiliated me or put me down. I didn't forget my lines, and no one laughed at me. The fear was simply there, full-blown and ready to limit my life, which it did for decades after that. In recent years, once I was ready, yes, I began to question my limited thinking in this regard. Why can't I speak? What exactly am I afraid of besides forgetting something of what I want to say? So that's really the only piece of this that I'm still working on. And yes, I use notes, whatever I need to make this as enjoyable for you as it is for me. And it is enjoyable. I'm having fun with this. I wish I would have known years ago how much fun this can really be. This takes me to point number 3. Cultivates a mindful, proactive approach. I do this in all areas of my life. I think the idea of being proactive with regard to health is the thing I'm doing most consistently these days. Now, as I mentioned before, this wasn't always true of me. There was the time in my life when I wasn't taking good care of myself and had become seriously overweight, as I mentioned. This was where the mindful approach came into play. After it was triggered by taking personal responsibility and questioning my limited thinking. They all worked together as I executed my plan for getting and staying healthy as I grew older. It's fascinating to me to see how there is so much overlap in these characteristics and how well they work with each other. Maybe this is a good spot to mention that you don't have to be a lifelong high achiever to be a thriver in your later years. I'm a perfect example of just such a late bloomer. Number 4, creates a passion-centered life. I don't know where to start with this one. There is so much. What is a passion-centered life to me? I can tell you that I am genuinely interested in so many different things that there are times I don't know what to focus on next. But an interest in a variety of things can be cultivated in your life if it doesn't come naturally to you. Once you eliminate the idea that it is too late to learn something new, there's that limited thinking issue again. You realize that if you find something interesting, why not try it? Study it, learn about it, and do it. For my generation, use a computer. Program your Blu-ray player and get it set up. You got it for Christmas last year or the year before and it's still sitting there. Get on Facebook. Write your memoir. The list goes on. And I'm sure you can think of a few things on your own. We're always learning, right? And that's why I was so interested in reading about the other thrivers in Lori's book. The exciting thing for me is how much I stand to gain by learning from these other people and by being genuinely interested in them. I have a saying, lifestyle choices are a lot like buying new clothes. We try on different things until something fits. But even then it doesn't fit forever, goes out of style, or we simply get tired of it. It's up to us to discard a bad fit as soon as it's recognized. This is one of my favorite personal quotes. And when I think about this saying, I see the connection to the 4 characteristics. Taking personal responsibility dovetails with making informed lifestyle choices. Questioning limited thinking goes hand in hand with trying on different things instead of accepting the status quo. Taking a mindful, proactive approach relates directly to discarding a bad fit in your life as soon as it's recognized and finding something new. Living a passion-centered life is symbolized by buying new clothes and trying on new things instead of being content with the old. Some of the things I write about and talk about regularly also fit right into these 4 points. I write about reshaping a healthier body and attitude and realigning personal relationships that are out of sync. This is taking personal responsibility. I write about redirecting thought patterns toward the possibilities in life. This is questioning limited thinking. I write about rediscovering the magic in your life. This is living a passion-centered life. I write about removing lifelong regrets and creating new chapters in your life. This is cultivating a mindful approach. It's been an eye-opener to me to see how all this works together, and it has helped me to be even more excited about what lies ahead. And we can all be excited about what lies ahead if we incorporate these characteristics into our own lives. Thank you for listening to me today. I encourage you to think about your own life as if it were a book and ask yourself, what chapters are yet to be written?
Thanks, Nadia. I just want to comment just briefly. What really stands out in Nadia's life story is she was laid off at a company she had intended to retire at. She was very close to retirement. It was devastating, and in her words, she said, she was devastated, hopeless for a good year until she revamped. But she didn't only just go out to get a job, she created the life of her dreams. She created her passion. She went out and did it all. Now she said, I'm not going to get a job, I'm going to go out and inspire other women to empower them to live their best life. She wrote 2 books, she's out speaking. This is what she does with her life. And so they take devastations and they turn them into something that's magnificently beautiful, not only for them, but for other people. That's what passion is. You move outside of yourself to empower others. So I just think it's so incredibly beautiful, and as you can tell, I've learned so much from Thrivers, because they take the hardships in lives and they make them, somehow, they come out on the other side better. And Nadia's story is just one of them. So, thank you.